Welcome back, Black Knight Scholars. Mr. Deegan here with another VidNotes video session. We are on to another unit, Unit 6. We're talking about industrialization, the increase of cities and factories in the world, and imperialism, a time when Europe dominates Asia, Africa, and the Americas. And in this lesson, Lesson 1, we're going to be talking about the Industrial Revolution, how it began, why it began, and what it meant for the future. And the Industrial Revolution is characterized by factories and the movement of people from farms to cities. Let's start with when. When was the Industrial Revolution? Well, it starts in the 1760s and it lasts until the 1840s. And our guiding question for this lesson is, how did the Industrial Revolution change the way we live and work? We'll explore this question today. So we can say that advancements in technology produced the Industrial Revolution, while advancements in science and medicine altered the lives of people living in the new industrial cities. Cultural changes soon followed. You see scientists working on advancements, and you see an example of an industrial city. Lots of pollution, but there are also lots of jobs for people in those factories. With the Industrial Revolution came an increased demand for raw materials from the Americas, Asia, and Africa. What are raw materials? They're the basic components of a finished product. The raw material of lumber is wood. The raw material of this iron pan would be iron ore. And this is cotton. It is the raw material of cloth and clothing and shirts. Let's talk about England or Britain. Here is the European country of England in Western Europe in red here. Why are we talking about England and Britain? Well, the Industrial Revolution began in England and it spread to the rest of Western Europe and the U.S. And let's explore why England is the starting place. And when you see IR, that is short for the Industrial Revolution. Why did the IR start in Britain? Well, first, Britain had abundant natural resources. Britain had coal. You see a mining cart with this black coal. Coal is the fuel of the Industrial Revolution. Coal is used to power the steam engines. And coal is cheaper and it's more efficient than wood. It produces more energy than burning wood. And coal is abundant in northern England and Wales, a country in the United Kingdom. In addition to coal, you have iron ore. And if you've taken chemistry, you know iron is Fe as an element. And iron is the foundation of the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution was built on iron. In fact, what was built using iron? Railroads, bridges, buildings, trains. The invention and improvement of the steam engine took place in Britain. The machinery of the IR starts with this steam engine, and James Watt was the British inventor who vastly improved the steam engine model. And here is the pumping power of the steam engine. It created a power source. You heated water with fire. And the machine used the steam and pressure to drive its pistons, creating energy. And because of the steam engine, you no longer needed to be near moving water, rivers, which would power the water wheels. But the steam engine allowed you to move away from rivers, making it easier to be in a factory. What was Britain like before the Industrial Revolution? As you see here, it was largely a farming economy, but the enclosure movement starts to change that. Enclosure meaning closing off. So what happens during this time? Rich landowners in Britain bought up the lands of the poorer village farmers, and they enclosed these lands in large fields where they began experimenting with scientific farming. And you see these different squares here in the pastures. This was enclosures. So former farmers either worked on the farm that these rich landowners had, or they moved to the city. And here's an example of the scientific farming that these rich landowners used. You had one field for one crop, one field for another crop, a third field for animals grazing. So the enclosure movement causes a change in farming. You also had cottage industries in Britain before the Industrial Revolution, where people largely worked at home. And you see this woman who is making cloth from yarns. The cottage industries, you see here, cotton comes into town. The spinners' cottages and the weavers' cottages use that cotton, and then there's finished cloth that is sent out of town and sold in markets. The money eventually coming back to these folks. How did Western Europe and the U.S. respond to the Industrial Revolution? Well, rising economic powers wanted to control raw materials and markets throughout the world. It was about the almighty dollar. And what is a market? It's a place where buyers and sellers of a good or service meet to make a transaction. And a market could be a physical place like a farmer's market. Maybe you've been to the farmer's market downtown Charlottesville, or it could be an online market. Maybe you purchased some Christmas gifts online using Amazon or another online market site. And we are done with Unit 6, Lesson 1. Please answer those summary questions, and then a preview. The innovators of the Industrial Revolution. That's what we'll be tackling next lesson. Who were the inventors? Who were the scientists who made the Industrial Revolution what it was? We'll learn that next time. Until then, this is Mr. Deegan signing off.